When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, and welcome back to the Grease Goblins YouTube channel. I'm really excited to do this video. This is a video that was brought to you by the comments. It was something I wanted to get to eventually, but since somebody mentioned it, I thought I would do it this week. This is something that I personally, when I was reading the books, and especially when I was watching the show, and you watch the Tower of Joy scene kind of come to a head within the show, it's never really explained why Sir Arthur Dayne and the Kingsguard that were there protecting the Tower of Joy fought Ned and his companions. Which, on the face value of it, you would think they don't have a reason to fight, right? You know, they both don't want Jon to be killed or any of that stuff, and they want the safety of Lyanna. But, as we're going to talk about in this video, it's actually a little bit deeper than that, and I think you can go two routes with how this theory goes. Now, before we get into that, if you would like to see more videos like this, consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. It helps out the channel reach other people that might like this content like you. And yeah. So, when we talk about the Tower of Joy, there's always two sides to the coin. There's always the side where you have the people that think it was pretty straightforward, where it was the Rhaegar, Lyanna stuff, and all that, R+L. And then there's the people that, you know, you'll have your N+A, so Ned and Ashara, and you'll have that, you know, Sir Arthur and some of these Kingsguard actually survived and, you know, went north into the wall and all that stuff. And I'm fine if you believe in the Ned plus Ashara thing, because I think it has a lot of decent evidence behind it, and it is possible. I'm not saying it's not. But in this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on why I believe it really was R+L, as well as why they had a reason to fight. So, getting into this video, there's something you need to understand of why I think this was a fight and why people did die here, and this was like a battle between guys. So we get Ned, basically, this is the first time we're really hearing about the Tower of Joy is a fever dream. And I don't think this is completely accurate, because even George says in an interview talking around this event that fever dreams can sometimes be not the full truth. It's more of kind of representing maybe what happened, but just a little not true. But the problem with this is, after he wakes up and has all this stuff, is he's talking to, or he's not talking to Jorah Cassel, but he's thinking about Jorah Cassel because he's just been killed, and thinking about, I believe it's his father, that was at the Tower of Joy with Ned, and he talks about how he was like, in his mind, he goes, it was 7 on 3, you know, and saying that only 2 of them, you know, survived, him and Howland Reed. So, why in his mind would he be lying to himself to suggest that actually Sir Arthur Dayne survived, the rest of the Kingsguard survived? That doesn't make any sense, right? And we know from something we get from Bran in A Clash of Kings, I believe it's his 3rd chapter, I just got done reading it a little earlier because I'm rereading through the books, that Ned told Bran that there was, you know, this you know, battle between these group of people, and that Ned, the only reason he survived was because of Howland Reed. So we're assuming that Arthur Dayne was about to kill Ned. If the story isn't true, I'm not sure why Ned would even bring it up, right? Because the thing with the Ashara theory is Ned constantly shuts down any talk of Ashara having anything to do with that, trying to keep, you know, the secret and stuff. If he was trying to keep the Tower of Joy a secret, why would he bring it up to Bran? It's kind of a contradictory thing to all that stuff. So for me, that's a little minimized reasoning for why I believe this was R+L. And now let's get into the reasoning of why I believe they did fight. So to understand why they fought, we have to understand Rhaegar as a character. Rhaegar is someone that was very confident in himself and believed completely in himself. Right, when we get this idea of when Rhaegar was going to the Trident, there was never an idea when he's talking to Jaime that he is going to lose. There's some possibility. He was like, when I get back, we're going to do this, that, you know, the kingdom will be better and stuff like that. That is what is talked about. It's never really this idea that there's a chance he could lose, right? And that's kind of how he lived his life almost. So when we see the Tower of Joy, we know that probably his last orders, word, don't let anybody in the tower until I come back, because he always expected to come back with Lyanna, win the war, and do whatever with, this child that he had with Lyanna. So as a Kingsguard, right? These are the same Kingsguard that sat by and watched the Mad King Aerys do whatever he wanted. Right? These people were very strict towards orders. Right? They didn't break these orders. Right? And you also have to think, in their minds, the king is dead, Rhaegar's dead, his children are dead, the Targaryens are basically lost at this point, right? You have Viserys and Daenerys who are wherever and probably are likely going to die in their eyes at this scenario. In their eyes, they are right now protecting the heir to the Iron Throne, right? That is how they're looking at this. And then another thing you add on to it is that Ned, right? To these Kingsguard, Ned is still Robert's man. What is Robert doing to all the Targaryens at this point? He's killing them. I get that Ned, that's his sister Lyanna. He doesn't want Lyanna to get harmed. At this point, they're not worrying about Lyanna. They're worrying about the child. And it makes a lot of sense why, in this scenario, when you think about it and you break down characters, they would have been very honor-bound and duty-bound to protect this child, because they would have been willing to try and make this the new king, right? And from Ned's point of view, you're going, okay, these people really aren't going to believe me, and he has to protect his sister. He has to go in to see his sister and stuff, and to protect her and stuff, and get her out of this situation because the war is lost. Which leads to a conflict, because the Kingsguard are not going to let him in, and he needs to get in. So that is a major reason as to why, in total, this battle was going to happen. And the idea that this battle never took place, I think, is kind of... I don't like it. I just don't like that idea, because I feel like we're given enough evidence and context to suggest that there was at least a battle that occurred. And we know that Ned and Howland survived. Right? So the only other thing I could possibly see that could be suggested here was that, maybe Arthur survived, or, the Hightower survived. But there's no way you can't suggest that this was just, everybody went their own ways, because we know for a certain Jory Castell's father died, right? He's gone. Some of these other companions that went with him died. So how would they just die randomly if there wasn't a battle? And that's how I look at this. I think this is a very interesting subject in general. And I don't know let me know what you guys think. I have a lot of people that always comment stuff about Ned and Ashara, and I do think it's a valid theory, I think, but the idea that Arthur, Jane, all these people are still alive with the Ashara, because some people try to match that with the Ashara Dane theory, doesn't add up to me. There is evidence to suggest that Ned and Ashara could possibly have had a kid, and that kid could have been Jon. There is a decent amount of evidence, and the timelines do match up. But like I said, in comments and earlier in videos, I like R plus L a lot more. It makes more sense for the story, in my opinion. I like because I'm not sure if they ever did say that George told D&D that they were going to go in this Mad Queen route. But if George is planning to do that, this is a good way to do it. Jon becoming a Targaryen is just another person to kind of drive Daenerys kind of nuts, right? And I know a lot of people don't want to see that happen, but I do think it would be a cool element if they did, do that. And I think it makes the story way more interesting. You have another character that can vie, for the throne, instead of with Ned and Ashara, right? You kind of have, okay, so he's the legitimate heir to Winterfell. And he's also, he could be the Sword of the Morning. But my problem with that is I also don't like the idea of Jon just being the Sword of the Morning and then having one big battle to finish out A Song of Ice and Fire. I just don't think it's going to be that simple. So I don't really like that theory that much for me personally. Also, I just don't like the idea that Ashara is going to be Jon's mother. This very big plot reveal, big thing. Because here's the thing. I will be completely honest with you. After watching the entire show, and then I read through the books once, when I stumbled across Ned and Ashara, I had heard of the name. I didn't know who Ashara even was. I knew she was a Dane or whatever. I didn't know what relevance she even had to the story, because she's not referenced that many times within the books. So it's like a big reveal like this that's been building up for years now. I feel like it just has to be Rhaegar and Lyanna. I don't, because as a casual fan, right? As somebody, I'm not saying I'm a casual fan. And I think most people that are watching this video, if you're looking up, Song of Ice and Fire content, I wouldn't say you're a casual fan. For the casual fan that doesn't go on YouTube, doesn't watch theory videos on this stuff, that just reads through the book, enjoys the story, and then, just waits for the next one, right? I have a lot of people in my family that are like that don't even know who Ashara is. And like, it just, to me, I don't like the idea of that, because I feel like if he does do that, a lot of people will be like, where did this come from? So for me, I like Rhaegar and Lyanna. They're both very well-established characters. They're referenced a lot. I think the evidence does support them, even though, like I said before, and I will continue to say, Ned and Ashara, there definitely is some good, valid support behind it. I think for plot reasons, I like Rhaegar and Lyanna a little better. And yeah, I just wanted to, answer a question I get asked a lot about, Jon's parentage and stuff like that at the end of this video, just to tie in, because it's a good time to do it with the Tower of Joy stuff leading into the Witch theory, I believe. And yeah, I hope you guys like this video. This is my personal opinion. I'm not saying it's completely 100% right. By no means. That goes for almost any of my videos. This is just what personally I believe, and I love a lot of your guys' theories, so let me know what you guys think happened and why the Tower of Joy happened in general, why there was a battle, or maybe why you think there wasn't one. So yeah, hope you guys all enjoy this video, and I'll talk to you guys later.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.